Okay. I flat ironed my hair today. It's practice. It's a process. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm learning. Well, anyway, hey, wonderful people. Today would be the first day of our new Emotions for Dummies series, but I want to see if anyone shows up today because, to be honest with you, I didn't advertise the class today. Seven people said they might show up, but we'll see if they do. And I'm just tired. I'm really tired. I had a whole, I got through my whole tenure portfolio last weekend. I applied for tenure. It was a lot of writing. Also, so that happened. That was a lot of work. And yesterday I got Invisalign. Oh, welcome. We'll go ahead and get started in a few minutes. I'm just saying how my day was going here. I got Invisalign. I got I guess you call them braces, retainers, and they hurt. OMG, my teeth hurt. My teeth hurt. So I was looking up ways to make my teeth feel better, and I couldn't find. Well, there was this one thing, but it's only with a dentist prescription. It's like a vibrating toy. So to help me with my teeth, I bought this vibrating, which I think is a vibrating female sex toy. I'm not sure. You know, having sex with women is not my thing. So, but at either rate, it's working out really well for me. It's helping me a lot with my teeth. It's just keeping it on here like this all day. It's really helping me out a lot. So welcome. We'll get started in a few minutes. This is the beginning of the Emotions for Dummies series, and I'm so happy that people came. This class is all about getting in touch with your thoughts and feelings. I'm getting in touch with some real good thoughts and feelings today. One is, don't ever let yourself just sit and suffer. If there's things you can do, you should do something about take your feelings seriously. Okay, just a couple minutes. Why don't I go ahead and pull up the material we're using today so we can see what that looks like. Well, I was just saying I had a super busy week. I applied for tenure at my university. I finished all this stuff. And getting braces. So anybody who's listening to me, tell me how you're doing. Feel free to type or talk. Tell me how you're doing today. This is all about feelings, so tell me how your feelings are going. You know, if it wasn't for this little toy, I would have to go all day long to get this vibration going. What a gift. What a gift. I never had a, what is this called? A vibrating, what do they call them? I think women call them like a bullet, maybe? Never had one of these before. What a gift. I'm doing okay. Excited about this course and meeting folks interested in personal development. Well, oh, you came to the right place. This is all about getting your personal development on, okay? Absolutely. You came to the right place. Okay, well, wonderful. Well, welcome. My name is Dr. Donnie, and I'm the host, creator of this course. Some information about me. I have a PhD in sociology, where I am a college professor at CSU East Bay in Hayward. So like I was saying earlier, I actually just applied for tenure. So hopefully that goes through just fine. And in my work as a sociologist, I focus on issues of race, class, gender, sexuality, and also youth. So I teach a class in childhood sociology as well, which is all about getting in touch with your inner child. And then I also got into social emotional learning. And social emotional learning is all about getting in touch with our thoughts and feelings and how to process our thoughts and feelings. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The other thing I have done in the past in my life is that I have two master's degrees. I have a master's degree in classical music, and I have one in psychology, cognitive psychology as well. And let's just say 3 years ago or so, some things went down in my life. Yeah, my life sort of kind of fell apart in many ways. And I was having a hard time trying to figure out how to heal. And in that process, read a ton of resources on how to do that. And in the process of doing all that work, I ended up putting all that work into worksheets, because worksheets actually allow you to take the work and actually apply it right here, right now, and learn something. You know, reading a 200-page book on trauma is super great and informative. It's just that reading the 200-page book on trauma won't actually help you process your trauma unless you actually take it in and really use it in some real concrete, deep kind of way, okay? So these worksheets help you get there. That's the whole idea of these worksheets. I put them all together into one place. Okay, so this class is built on the idea of taking you from what's a feeling to I'm feeling a feeling, I don't like it, but I know I can handle it, okay, in the course of 1 month. And that's no small, that's no small task. So you're going to learn a lot of skills here to help you get your social emotional life together. Okay, and it's all step by step. It builds on each other every week. And I promise you, if you practice, you take your feelings seriously and you practice these exercises, your inner emotional life can only get better, can only increase. Okay, so let me show you. Actually, first thing, let me send you the link to this material. Okay, there we go. Feel free to please share this with friends. Please, well, like I said, practice. Please share with friends. We all have so much trouble with our feelings. So much trouble with our feelings. So all the help we all can get, the better, okay? Okay, so let's go over what the whole class will consist of, so you know what you're getting into here. The first week, or today, we're going to go through a self-care plan. Okay, I'll explain what that is in a minute. We're going to intro to mindfulness meditation, so we're going to learn how to meditate, in case you've never done that before. We have an exercise on how to tell yourself the truth, in case you've never told yourself the truth before. And an exercise on healing from trauma. Okay, we have a bunch of trauma releasing exercises I'm going to show you, and you can learn how to do them to get in touch with your body and your feelings, okay? Okay, and just so you know what we got going on the rest of the week. Next week, we discuss a list of emotions. We have an exercise in self-love, acceptance, and validation. And then something called a Byron Katie Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. In week 3, we meditate on emotions, or what's called emotional vipassana, and there's a body scan meditation. And then week 4, we put it all together into what I call the midterm, or the ego killer exercise. This is actually the midterm for all my college classes. So that's why it's called the midterm. Okay, and it's a real great exercise because I put all these things together into one big 2-hour exercise to really dig down deep into your feelings, okay? Okay, so let's do week one. Let's do week one. And if anybody has anything to say at any time, feel free to speak or type. Speak or type, okay? I'm gonna read all this lovely stuff.
Hi, Dr. Donnie. I just wanted to say hi and see if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. And hello. Hello, Anthony.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Yeah, and thank you so much for trying it out. It is not easy to be in touch with your feelings, you know. So it's a brave thing. You're a brave person.
Yeah, just to let you know, I'm familiar with all the points that you mentioned, and I'm excited to practice all these things with you guys.
Mm. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. That's wonderful to hear. And you too, and anyone else who's here, because I don't want to single anyone out. So welcome, super welcome for being here, okay? And anytime you have anything you want to say, address, bring up, feel free to speak or text, okay? I am listening. So I'm going to read this lovely stuff. And as a general rule in this class is all about getting in touch with your feelings. It is not about like normal school. It's about your feelings, your feelings. So if you feel like reading along, feel free. But if you feel like just closing your eyes and having a drink, feel free to do that too. Okay, you have access to this document. You can go back and read it on your own later. The main thing is for you to get in touch with your feelings here. Okay. Okay, so let me read about this workbook. This is a workbook dedicated to examining your thoughts and feelings. In particular, this workbook uses mindfulness meditation, visualizations, and inquiry to create a self-help platform that can aid anyone in need of healing their inner life. Extensive measures were taken to apply this material to a developmental perspective so that the effect of childhood socialization and its role in cognitive distortions will be central to understanding our life history. Equally so, a great effort was made to collect material from a trauma-informed perspective, one that acknowledges the complex after effects of abuse and neglect. Because both of these concerns relate to unhealthy relationships, a third concern was to address the role of healthy boundaries throughout this work. This is a workbook precisely because emotions need to be experienced in order to learn from them. Each exercise is meant to be read and then to engage in meditation or writing about feelings. Meditation is literally engaging in the experience of ourselves, turning ourselves into knowledge. Free writing allows us to bypass our consciousness and access our subconscious emotional mind. Emotional mind. While I designed this workbook for my college courses, it is my deepest hope that this resource can be used by anyone who is dealing with their feelings, hard times, or troubling thoughts. Okay, so we're gonna dive right into this topic of trigger warnings here. Because this workbook is about emotions, expect your feelings to be triggered. All sorts of feelings are gonna come up in this process. If any of those feelings are too difficult, it's important to develop your own self-care plan for your emotions, which we're gonna do in 1 second. See self-care plan. You can read the worksheets on healing from trauma and inner baby work for ideas on how to develop a self-care plan. If you have been through anything you would define as traumatic, take special care to only take on what you can handle, including if you want to close your eyes or not. See this workbook as like a toolbox, and each exercise is a hammer, a screwdriver, or a saw that can be used to deconstruct and rebuild your inner life. But like all tools, you can also damage yourself if you are not careful. All of these resources are made with the focus of learning how to love ourselves and build our ability to feel. Not to just feel bad, beat ourselves up, or re-traumatize ourselves. Pick topics that range lower on your trigger scale and save the hardest things for when you have practiced these exercises a bit. Please know this may also mean having to learn a great deal of patience. Basically, don't pick the most painful thing that ever happened to you in your life on the first time you try one of these worksheets, okay? That's the idea there. Finally, this workbook is not a substitution for therapy or crisis care. If you feel you need the long-term help of a licensed professional, please access a psychologist, therapist, counselor, or confidant of your choice. If you are in a crisis and in need of help, please access a crisis center who can help you find resources or call emergency services such as the police, a hospital, or 911. Okay, well, I guess you all are students, so I'm going to read this for all of you. I will always begin each class by asking, how are we feeling today? And I will always wait for an answer. Your response or no response is always your choice. Since this is about expressing feelings, I'm going to press for an answer as the term progresses. Each worksheet is designed to be read aloud first and then to engage in an exercise. We will have about 20 minutes for each worksheet. While what you work on is your business, it is expected that you try and engage in the current activity. Oh, well, this is all college stuff. This is part of your participation grade. Because I want you to dig deep, I will usually read my own examples out loud to everyone. There will be time after each exercise to discuss things. Because of the difficulty of learning emotions, not to mention also getting your education, after each exercise, I will always say, even if you are not feeling like digging into things today, the take-home message is blank. Also, whether you felt something good, nice, or loving, or if you felt something painful, gross, or depressing, it's okay, because we are learning how to feel. It's good to feel. We have to feel all our feels so that we can heal. Hopefully these words help you develop patience and let you know that you are not alone. Okay, so first things first, digging into our feelings is creating a plan for taking care of ourselves. Okay, so we're going to treat this not as a worksheet, we're going to treat this as a meditation. Okay, because after this, we're going to launch into a meditation anyway. So first things first with any meditation, I always say is just notice your breath. Just notice your breath. You don't have to open or close your eyes or do anything. Just notice your breath. You are breathing whether you want to or not. It's happening. So just notice. Does it change when you bring your awareness to your breath? Does it slow down? Is it in the chest or in the belly? Large breaths, small breaths. If possible, if you are willing, I invite you to slow down your breaths just a little bit. One extra second here and there. Settle into your breath. And then notice your mind. Notice your mind. Most of us live in our mind. You might feel all sorts of things buzzing and moving in your mind, or stillness. Just notice. Not here to judge, just notice. So we're going to talk about how to take care of ourselves here. Okay. We're going to make a list of some awareness around things that trigger us and how do we deal with that. We just want to bring that to the surface so we can have an honest conversation with ourselves about what we can and can't handle, okay? So straight up into it, think of a couple of 2 or 3 things that you just know are triggering items for you. They rile you up, they're hard to deal with. You just know where the border, the wall is for you, the outskirts for you. You know? High school for me was rough. So high school is probably one of those topics I'm not going to deal with. That might not happen this week. That might happen the next time I try a worksheet. Or I'm going to be really careful when I decide to tackle something that I know connects to high school. You know, for some, I said high school, but for some other people, it might be, you know, your job situation. It could be your relationship. You know, for some people, it could just be any feeling, anything about having to dig into you. So maybe you can only just focus on your feelings about other people. You all got just spots that are just super crazy, uber sensitive spots. Okay, so it's just important to really know what those are. Okay, now that you went through that, I'm pretty sure some feelings might have come up for you thinking about those things. So let's go on to number 2. When you feel something you can't handle, what is your honest go-to? Just being honest here. What is your honest go-tos? Is it blame other people for your problems? Is it isolate and go run off, be somewhere by myself? Is it grab the weed and grab the drinks because I can't handle this? What do you honestly do? What do you honestly do? No one's reading this. No one can read your mind. What do you honestly do? And then take a moment and think of what the healthier option would be. You know, this is up to you. You know, if my honest go-to was grab my vape, a healthier option, you know, might be don't grab the vape. A healthier option might be grab the vape one less time than the 10 times I grabbed it. So grab it 9 times instead of 10. Okay. The reason why I'm saying it like this is because the main thing is don't write something like, well, I'll just sip tea and, you know, take a deep breath when you know good and well that is not the thing you are really going to do if you get really upset. Lying to yourself about your honest actions and feelings will not help you to get in touch with your feelings, okay? So how honest can you get with yourself here? Okay, and then here's the real honest one is number 3, when you can tell you're about to cry. Okay, it happened. It's something that really set you. You feel the tears coming, that chest, that pressury chest feeling starts showing up. You know the tears are coming. What do you honestly do? Run and be alone? Cry in front of people? There's no judgment here. Just what do you honestly do? Pretend like it isn't happening? Blame everybody else for how I feel? There's a variety of options here. What do you honestly do? And then, what would the healthier option be? Tell myself it's okay. Let myself cry it out. It might even be figure out what's really going on so I don't have to cry. We just want to explore what would the healthier option be. Needless to say, crying is about one of the most natural human things for processing our feelings. Many of us have been taught not to cry. And so consequently, we've been barred, especially if you are born male in this society. You may have been taught not to cry at all. And so you may have been cut off from one of the most useful resources the human body has for processing your feelings. Okay. Okay, and then number 4, overall, what is it you would like to work on? What kind of goals do you have for yourself? Anything you want to acknowledge you're struggling with, or, one thing I'm working on is asking for help. That's something I struggle with. I'm great at doing things making things happen on my own, but when I have to ask for help, that's really hard for me. So I'm working on that. I guess we could say I'm working on trusting people. Trusting people. I had a hard time with that one. My faith in people is kind of low right now. I'm really, really thankful I get to teach these classes and really get to connect with people on an emotional level. It renews my sense of trust in people. Okay, and then any other things related to your self-care? If you have a famous quote, affirmations, a reminder, space here for doodles, but anything that you feel is important for you taking care of yourself. Okay. One of my favorite sayings is the phrase, love is letting go. Love is letting go. It's got me through a lot. Okay, so revisit this throughout the class. A self-care plan is not just a one-time thing. Taking care of yourself takes years. As a child, it takes years to learn how to take care of yourself. Even as an adult, it takes years to learn how to be an adult. Okay, so this self-care plan is years of learning how to get in touch with you, get in touch with your honest feelings and your honest needs. Okay. So this is all about. So feel free to revisit this regularly. Okay. Okay, so with that being said, let's meditate. And we already are, so let's just keep going. Notice your breath again. Notice your breath. In between the time I said notice your breath and now, were you still breathing? Are you sure? What did that breath look like? Is it in the chest or in the belly? Can you slow it down 1 second at a time? One second of breath? And just notice your breath. If you find your mind moving into your head, bring that energy back toward the breath. The breath is the one thing that's happening in the present moment reality. Okay, and let me read these wonderful words. Mindfulness is about examining your quality of life. Most of the time, we are caught up in doing things, but we are not human doings, we are human beings. Thus, when we examine our lives with mindfulness, we are moving deeper into our state of being in the world. For example, we use our phones to do things like send messages or check email quickly. With mindfulness, we take the time to examine the things we do. So we may examine each button we press, each letter we type, the layout of the app, etc. This is also about examining the quality of what we are doing, not just the doing of it. Okay, notice your mind. Bring that attention from your breath to your mind. What's going on in your mind right now? Just notice. Big or small, moving or not moving, just notice. In traditional old school meditation, we develop mindfulness by sitting in silence and being with our thoughts. The idea here is that eventually you will learn to treat yourself with compassion. The story of the Buddha is that he was a naive prince who left his palace and saw suffering or stress in the world and vowed to end it. After several failed attempts, he sat underneath a tree and began to sink into his thoughts. And from this, he came to realize that wanting things, desire, is what led to suffering. Today, we would expand this to say that 1, thought is not real. Thought is not real. Thinking and imagination are the same thing, but the first reduces and represses, while the other expresses and unrepresses. Yeah, that's a big one right there. Thought is not real. 2, thoughts, beliefs, and concepts shape what we think is reality. The brain only responds to thoughts, not reality. So technically, imagination makes reality, like a hologram on top of reality. So 3, all stress comes from believing thoughts that don't line up with reality. What happens in life is information. Our feelings about it come from our unconscious use of the 5 frustrations of life: our assumptions and expectations, beliefs and attachments, judgments and comparisons, preferences and requirements, and attempts to manipulate and control things beyond our ego. Actually, let me just also add, the human mind actually can only perceive 4 things: thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and images, mental images. Thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and mental images are the only 4 things the mind can perceive. The human mind does not perceive reality. It perceives thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and images. Okay. And if you don't believe me, test that one out. The human brain is truly amazing. It has 2 major sections: our frontal lobe, which is responsible for abstract thought, planning, judgment, and our back brain, limbic system, and amygdala, which processes emotions. This part is also more connected to our spinal cord, heart, and stomach, or our gut, which research also shows have neurons surrounding them that create our deep in the heart feelings and our gut reactions. In fact, our brains have 100 billion neurons making 10,000 connections with each other, doing 50 processes at the same time. Unfortunately, that means the human mind can think 80,000 thoughts a day, or 1.5 thoughts a second. Worse, 98% of those thoughts are just repeated over and over. Even worse, some argue that 80% of those thoughts are negative. Add to this the fact that only 20% of the brain is conscious, the other 80% is unconscious, and it's clear how our mind can be our worst enemy. Putting a bunch of unconscious negative thoughts on repeat guarantees you will focus on what you lack, blocking your ability to be open-minded, question anything, or develop stillness and mindfulness. In contrast, Buddhism offers cultivating positive thoughts of gratitude and thankfulness. Genuinely finding the good, and especially the good in what we think is bad, shifts our mind into a friend, or a space of more support and possibility. Okay, check your mind again, check your body, check your mind, check your breathing. How's that going? Still breathing? Are you sure? Check your mind, see how that's going. Okay, notice. These days, modern physics, spiritual people, and hippies all agree that with the creation of the Big Bang came the creation of consciousness itself. Despite that, many people feel that meditation is boring. Well, it is. When we meditate, we are boring into our inner universe, which is just as vast as the outer universe. So boredom brings us to the kingdom. Boredom brings us to the kingdom, or queendom, if that is your preference. Each person is a total inner universe of things separate from other people. It is our inner world that shapes how we make sense of our outer world. So to help us with our thoughts and feelings, and to greatly expand our consciousness, in this class we will learn a variety of techniques for developing mindfulness. Okay, so notice your mind. We'll just keep on with this meditation here. Notice your mind. Actually, we can have a little fun exercise. Why don't you pick one thing that bugs you? Just pick one thing that's bubbling up in your mind. Well, anything really. You know, this fan is on right next to me, so I'm going to focus on this fan. The human mind can only perceive thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and images. So anytime you perceive anything, it's never just that thing. It's four things. So I'm taking in this fan, and what I'm taking in is my thoughts about, well, what I'm taking in is my images of the fan, the color, the movement, my thoughts about how far away it is from me, or whether I should turn it on higher or lower. I have thoughts about whether you all can hear it or not. I have feelings, the feelings of, well, there's some like a little concern around whether other people can hear it, a concern around my body temperature and whether I'm getting hot or not. And then bodily sensations, with the sweat building up, the perspiration, forehead, chest. My lips are getting a little dry. Okay, so the fan is never just the fan. It's all those things. It's all those things. And yet at the same time, all those things are not the fan at all, right? The fan is just information cluing me into all these things going on inside of me already. Okay, that's useful stuff to know. Useful stuff to know the next time you get into an argument with somebody. So let's apply some mindfulness. Let's apply some more mindfulness. Think of some ordinary activity that you do. Something that you do that you put no thought into at all. It could be looking stuff up online or using your phone. Take a moment and try to actually apply some mindfulness to this. Slow it all down. Notice how you move and interact with the object. Feel what it feels like in your hand, the feel of the buttons against your fingers. Notice the colors that show up, the layout of apps, the layout of the screen. Notice how fast or slow you move your fingers. You know, if you were going to send a message to someone, don't just send the message, pop, 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 go. Take a moment. Make a moment and notice the layout of the keyboard, the feeling as you press each button, the thoughts that are showing up in your mind. No, I'm just gonna say I have a friend who lost his job and his girlfriend, his four-year relationship a few months ago, and I'm a little concerned about him. And I'm noticing right now as I check my phone that he hasn't responded to any of my messages this week. And I just got a message telling me that The delivery period has elapsed. And so I'm really wondering if he's okay. I'm just gonna let that bubble up. I'm just noticing. That is he okay? That shows up a lot when I check those messages. Just noticing. Okay, mindfulness is infinite. So you could actually apply this forever to everything you do in your life. To everything you do in your life. Okay. Mindfulness turns everything from a challenge into an opportunity to learn. The school of life. The school of life. Okay, so keep this in mind. The next argument you have, the next feeling you have, you are struggling with. The next time it isn't going the way you wanted it to go. How much mindfulness can we bring for what's going on in life? Okay, so definitely practice this. We're gonna take this to some deeper levels as things go on in this month. Let's go ahead and take a little pause there, see if anybody has anything they want to say, address, or bring up. Actually, let me get this water. Here. And if anybody has anything they want to say, address, or bring up, feel free.
Yeah, I have some thoughts about this is the 5 frustrations of life.
Okay.
And looks like a lot of these are things that we seem to do on an everyday basis, as if we needed them for life. Like we make judgment calls every few moments in the day about what's important to us. So it seems like this is just life, like calling it the 5 frustrations makes it seem like is there a way to live without any of these?
The answer to that question might be no. It's entirely possible that the answer is no. What I would say is if the answer is no, then the question is how can we live life with as much ability to bring mindfulness to these 5 things so we can manage them in healthy ways. I mean, I guess the other thing I would say is I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't ascended to another level yet where I'm beyond all this yet, So we all have to just test it out and find out, What would life be if you didn't have any judgments or beliefs or assumptions?
Yeah, so I give it a try quite often because when I, for example, get into an argument with someone important to me, I try to let go of my ideology for the moment and just feel into the person's feelings. It's really, really scary, but sometimes it actually relieves the situation to let go of my deeply held beliefs.
Well, that's amazing. That's an amazing practice. That is like literally one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I tell myself I'll get back to my belief in 10 minutes. just for the next 10 minutes, just let me hear this person out.
Wow. That is some incredible patience. There's so many people who can't make it 10 minutes who could not make 10 minutes of listening to someone else. And what I'm hearing from what you just said is you actually give it a full, honest, earnest 10 minutes of listening, not one where you spend 10 minutes kind of thinking about what you're going to say. You actually listen.
Yeah, because I've done that too, where I'm thinking about what I'm going to say, and that ends up badly. So I learned a new way, which is to actually just be clear-minded. And it seems to work. So that's why I'm kind of curious about what would it be like to live with as little of these 5 frustrations as possible, and how would I navigate my life? Like if somebody did something that I considered to be causing someone else suffering, that's a judgment. How do I suspend that without, feeling bad about it afterward, that I didn't follow my values or something.
Well, now, that's a life's practice. That's something we have to figure out over time. I can offer, though, that if you feel bad, then you must have judged yourself. You can only feel bad if you judge yourself. And you say compromising your underlying belief. Well, that's just it. You're never going to compromise your underlying belief because it feels bad. You have to question that belief.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. I guess I just would say that the issue of harming others, that's a tough one. That's a toughie. That's like that's advanced level stuff there,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. One of my students did a worksheet on well, I'll just go there, on being molested as a child. And that's one of those things where, how on earth do you find thankfulness in that? Okay, that is just one of those things that most people would look at, and the answer is nothing ever will be good. There's no thankfulness or goodness or nothing, zero ever about one of those experiences. Okay, and if you sit with it and get really in touch, you'll find something. That's how the universe works. But it isn't something to expect to happen to you on day one.
Right.
We'll just give it some time there. That is such a great question. That is such a great question. Especially
I'm here to get really deep because like I said, I'm pretty familiar with all the stuff you've listed, like Byron Katie and feelings from like nonviolent communication, etc. So
okay.
I'm here for the bigger problems, the big fish.
Okay, that's right. You did say that. Okay, so okay, well then can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I'm not totally there yet. What I can say, though, is for you to perceive what someone is doing as being harmed, the truth of it is the person who's harmed is you. Because we think we can feel for other people, but we really can't. We really take in things and then we react. We're only really judging our own reactions. So when I see someone getting beat up and what I feel about it is my moral, is what you said, my beliefs, not the person being harmed.
Right.
If you have the belief you should do something, then that motivates you in that direction. But needless to say, if it was, Trump getting beat up or something like that, you might suddenly feel the need to not do anything. Or if it's, if it's like a woman getting beat up, you might feel the need to, protect her. But if it's like two homeless people fighting, you might feel the need to do nothing, for example. So it's not the fight that's the issue. It's the thoughts and the beliefs we're bringing to the fight.
That's a very good point.
It's the mental fight.
Yeah.
So we'd have to go there to deconstruct that. I'd say that much.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Well, let's keep going. Oh, awesome. Well, then in that case, you just go wherever your heart tells you to go, okay? Wherever your heart tells you to go, you just go there and I will follow you, okay? All these exercises will support you every step of the way. So let's try this one, how to tell yourself the truth. And this comes from a person named Teal Swan. She has a wonderful YouTube page with hundreds of videos of spiritual psychological help. Wonderful human being. So feel free to check out her page. Obviously, telling the truth is an important part of developing a strong, healthy relationship with ourselves and others. For many of us, however, the truth can either be too uncomfortable or scary to embrace, especially when the truth may force us to alter our sense of reality or identity. We often don't tell the truth when something happens that we can't handle emotionally, such as when we're in danger from trauma or abuse, risk losing something important like money, love, security. when who we actually are isn't good enough to get what we want, or 4, when we are trained by parents, adults, society, or ourselves into denial, rejection, rationalizations, and avoidance as coping mechanisms. While we often treat the truth as something stable, permanent, and objective, most truth is one part what people believe or all agree is accurate, and one part how your subjective emotional range is reacting to information. Our personal truth may be totally different from someone else's or what society says is true. In Buddhism, telling the truth is always balanced against compassion. Saying true things without kindness can be cruel. And saying kind things that are not true, which are called lies, can lead to mistrust and hurt. So, one way to deal with the difficult feelings around the truth is to explore our emotional range from negative to positive. A full truth involves expressing all of your anger, hurt, fear, understanding, and love. Use the fingers of your hand as a way to remember this. Find a problem, issue about your life, yourself, or the world that you feel is causing you stress. Start with anger, and for each one, allow yourself to get out all the thoughts and feelings you are having before you go on to the next one. When you get to understanding, also examine the frustrations of life. Assumptions and expectations, beliefs, judgments, preferences, requirements, and attempts to manipulate and control. If you have trouble with anger, try other words like frustrated or bothered, or try sadness or stress. Remember, you can always choose whether you want to tell someone else the truth because they may or may not want to hear it. But if you lie to yourself, you risk throwing your whole world into confusion and unconscious self-sabotage. Since you don't have all the information you would need to take responsibility and make good decisions, everything you do to address your problems won't work either, which can lead to hopelessness, resentment, and deep insecurities. In contrast, the truth gives us a solid, powerful foundation to build a life based on honesty and integrity. Or as they say, the truth will set you free. Okay, so here we go. Anger, hurt, fear, understanding, love. Why don't we just do this as an exercise out loud for all of us here? Let's just do it together here. Let's just do it together. So let's pick one topic. Do you have a topic at all, something that bugs you about life? Maybe something going on personally, anything that's a stressor? There's always Trump, but who wants to talk about him all the time, right? So, cool. Anything?
Oh, you want us to volunteer or something?
Yeah,
Sure.
Let's do this together. Let's do this exercise together.
All right. I'm concerned about the polarization of American society.
Wonderful. Polarization. Anger. What angers you about that?
I don't like it when my side or the other side gets super angry at the other side, and I actually get angry about that, which is ironic.
You get angry about people when people don't listen to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? I hate how rude it is.
I guess I just consider it ignorant.
Yeah, I hate how ignorant, how like proudly ignorant some people are. How righteous.
Yeah, the righteousness bothers me.
What else? What else?
I guess that would be in the fear category. I'm scared of it. But the anger is, I mean, I'm scared of it and I'm angry at it. I'm angry at the righteousness.
Yeah. What other anger? Anything else makes you angry about this? Makes me mad what a waste of time it is.
Yes, and I guess again, related to fear, I'm worried about the health effects, you know, of not considering other people.
Now, inconsiderate, the complete inconsiderateness, the anger over letting other people die. Yes. Okay, let's try hurt. Let's try hurt. Any feelings of hurt? I'm hurt at the insensitivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm those feelings of fear. I mean, they start off with hurt though. Like you know, I'm just hurt that people's needs aren't being listened to. I'm hurt that our energy is being wasted in this way when it could be productive.
Yeah, there's a frustration, if not a hurt, about not being able to do the things that I think I should be able to do because of mismanagement.
Yeah, what else? What else?
There's hurt feelings when I experience someone disagreeing with me or people disagreeing with each other.
All this disagreement. Okay, fear. Fear. What were those fears? What these fears you got?
Yeah, this was the kind of the main category for me. I'm afraid of this civil strife, a descent into something like a civil war.
Civil war, strife,
Yeah, riots.
riots, mass poverty.
Yeah, mass poverty, mass starvation, all things that I'm familiar with, having come from a genocide myself.
Oh, repeating the past.
Yeah, like family members against family members, kind of civil strife.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Yeah, even those simple, just the basic bonds you could hold, trust, you could hold on to, just being ripped right from under you. Like you have nothing. You're going to be left with nothing.
It's kind of interesting. Don't want to digress too much, but it's
Okay.
a lot of the fears I have are a bit. I seem to be a bit distant from them, like I'm repressing them, because it's so big. So then I kind of project it onto like news items rather than something more substantially significant to my personal life. So if I have family problems or something like that, I'll just like read the news about, you know, America's family problems.
Safer that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your way of self-care. Yeah. You're afraid of the fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
Like I'm sure there's a fear of death in there somewhere, but I'm not feeling it. I've projected it pretty well, so I don't really think about death, but I know there must be some relation, because why is there a deathly fear of disagreement, for instance?
Oh, oh, the fear. I mean, it's not just the fear of death, it's the fear of which death? The bodily death, emotional death, relationship death. There's so many ways to die.
Mm-hmm.
Your identity, yeah, yeah. You lose your job and a death happens, you know. So many ways to die. All that fear. All that fear. Losing any single one of those things is scary as all get out. There are people right now losing all of those things. You went through a genocide. Is that you said that, right? That's what you just
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
And what country?
Cambodia.
Fear of another genocide.
Right.
Fear that people will never learn their lesson.
Yeah. Also, this goes also back to anger. It's just angry that people aren't listening to history lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes to anger and to hurt, and it goes to all of them.
Mm.
So the idea of this exercise is just to make space. We're just making space, honoring your truth. Look how much truth was there. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about understanding? Got so much out there. What kind of understanding can we bring to this? One, understand how much fear is concerned. You know, judging the whole human race as not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I said it previously, but I'm understanding that there's projection being played out here.
Projections, yes. Yes.
A need to control is one of the items here.
Yes, it is. Yes, you know, you don't like the bickering, but you're bickering about the bickering. So you're really trying to control the bickering. You're wrong.
Judging the judging.
Yeah. You just want to be at the head of the bickering. I yell at political pundits all the time, but you know what? If I was up there, I'd be like, no, I'm saying the truth. Oh, what else? What else can we bring to this? What else can we? You know, we're assuming another genocide will happen, but we don't know that. Climate change could fix that problem, so there won't be another genocide. Won't be enough people for a genocide. We're assuming those people, like the Trumps of the world, are going to do. It's going to lead in this direction, but maybe there's just enough good people that it won't lead in that direction. Maybe the technology has changed so much that it just be too difficult today. And all of these could be true or not true. The point is, we're listing assumptions, stuff we're putting into our mind. I expect people to somehow be able to argue about totally opposing things and somehow do it in a peaceful way. That's a huge expectation. And I may not be able to put on people. I'm expecting people to be able to argue anything out in a civil way. I can't know if they can or can't. I don't know what the kind of training and family background you had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if all you grew up is in an environment of yelling and arguing, maybe that's all you know how to do.
Yeah, sometimes I go as far as to question my assumption of the necessity for human life to continue.
It's a heavy belief. That's a heavy belief. And, well, when I hear your voice, when you said it, there's a judgment that maybe we don't deserve it. We don't deserve, human life doesn't deserve to continue. It's just too messed up.
I think that used to be my feeling. I'm talking about what I'm saying now is more about just surrender rather than like a blame. Not that I'm fully surrendered or anything like that. It's just a kind of a thought experiment in my mind saying, hey, what if I don't need to try so hard to save the humans?
Then, that's a really loving thought, because the odds are high you can't do that much anyway. I mean, even if you had millions and you started an organization and you went around the world doing things, you still would only do 1% tops.
Yeah.
World. I'm gonna just tack on that you saying, hey, let go of the control, the ease up on myself. That's not what you said. You said something else.
Well, that's kind of close to it.
Yeah. That's love. That's love. That is self-love. You were hard on yourself, and you recognized it.
Yeah.
These people that frustrate you are giving you information about how to be more loving to yourself.
Hmm.
Is there anything else about this situation you could say you love?
Hmm.
You love complaining?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the energy of love, but sure.
Hey, love takes many forms, I love complaining. Complaining, fantastic. Complaining allows you to get everything out. Grumble, 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 grumble.
Hmm.
All of it gone. That whole keep it positive thing,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I think it does. I think a broken heart does open the heart as well.
Oh, well then, my friend, all these sad things going on, it's going to open your heart. Your heart is just going to just boom with openness. All these hard times going on.
Yeah.
Level of compassion that this could show you, could just be life-changing.
Yeah. Rearranges my priorities and priorities of people around me, like when there's fires burning and stuff. And when the ideas, the foundations of our safety are so threatened, it leaves a field wide open for real radical change.
That's something you love?
Yeah, the opportunity for love to shine through. And
Hey, there's no way that could happen without conflict.
Yeah, without breaking down those walls.
That's right. That's right. I hadn't thought of that one, but even I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just reminded of a time when I had a breakup many years ago, and
yeah,
that night I had such a strong motivation to focus on my spiritual practice. So that, before I was just pretty half-hearted about it, but after the breakup, it opened my heart really. And the following day, I actually felt so much more emotions more vividly, and it felt good, even though the emotions were comedy would be called bad feelings, it felt real and good in a sense. So I think I might be going through that transformation once again.
Yeah, I will definitely believe there are no good and bad feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Those bad feelings are literally platinum. Platinum. Yeah.
That's the way I've been looking at it. Yeah.
It's something that it takes a horrible breakup to bring them to the surface. And what a gift. What a gift horrible breakups are. A horrible breakup is actually what led me to doing all this.
Well, I like the term disillusionment because you're getting rid of your illusions.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing all that and doing this exercise together.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So this exercise, it's super easy to do. And, all you have to do is list off your feelings. And I think given the things you mentioned, this may really help you to move from connecting it to the brain or something abstract, just getting right into what's going on with you. And then, it moves through all of them so that way you don't just feel stuck in one, like just stuck in anger, for example, or stuck in fear. Okay, well, that's something that's really worth trying, practicing.
Yeah, I just have a question about step 4, understandings. Is you're listing assumptions.
Yeah.
I'm listing assumptions that I'm having, that I'm noticing as I go through the exercise of listing my anger, hurt, and fear.
Yes. Any and all assumptions, actually. Yeah. Because we make all kinds of assumptions about our feelings, too. And you think you feel that way. If you sit with it long enough, it might shift into something else. Or bring you back to a memory that you didn't remember before, or things like that. So absolutely. All the assumptions. I love assumptions.
And what specifically is the question for love? Like what am I supposed to list here?
You see, that's deliberately written like that for a reason. Because it's whatever comes up for you.
Mm-hmm. I guess one question that I kind of see is, where's the love in this situation? That's the question I'm trying to answer.
That's right. And I mean, like I could just tell you what comes up for me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, love is, well, it's simple. Like, if I think of something I love, I had a margarita earlier. Okay, I love margaritas. I'm going to think about how much the feeling of love that comes up about drinking that margarita, the joy, the relaxation, getting what I wanted, really, the satisfaction. And then I'm going to apply that feeling to this situation. Does anything here give me that feeling of satisfaction or relief? And often, what comes up for me is that, hey, I'm learning what kind of person I want to be. So I don't want to be like these people. I love that. I love that I can learn from negative people. Mm-hmm. It's a digging exercise. The example you picked, people arguing, it's, well, I love people arguing as long as they're not arguing with me. I'm fine with people that if other people want to argue. I would much prefer that. What's another reason I love people arguing? I love people arguing because they're not repressing their feelings. People repress things all the time. They're finally being honest and letting them up to the surface.
Yeah. Yeah, and related to the opening the heart statement, it also unrepresses my feelings. If I have, because the feelings that come up or the thoughts that come up are just so contradictory or paradoxical, you know, like judging judgers, hating haters. It just lets me see my feelings for what they are, which is a form of unrepression.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And hating haters sounds real paradoxical. It's just that it's not. Hating haters makes you a hater. You could be the biggest hater there is. It's just you might be in denial about it. Yeah, yeah. I had to come to terms one day where I realized I judge well I judge the gay male scene a whole lot, for example. And then I realized I was the most judgmental person. I complained about how judgmental they all are. And then I realized I actually won the cake because I'm so judgmental of you, I won't even show up. I just wrote you all off in one big swoop. So I'm the biggest judger out of all of them.
Yeah, I get that.
That's not easy to tell yourself the truth.
Yeah, not easy to hear it, not easy to tell it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I blame religious people for being super judgmental, and then I realized I was super bitter about the way they had treated me. So I developed this super negative opinion about religious people, which made me way more judgmental than many of them were. Or, you know, all these Trump supporters in the not wearing mask business, the level of anger and the anger I threw out at them made me a lot more ignorant than the ignorance that I accused them of.
It gets even more meta because, you know, like as we're doing this exercise, I'm starting to think this is good stuff that we're doing, and people who don't do this stuff are bad people.
Why aren't they here?
Right.
Yes, yes. Those thoughts fly through my mind too. It's a part of me that would love to have the whole world here doing these things. Absolutely. Whew. Oh, that's a lot to let go. You know, that's still kind of thinking I can fix the whole world, and I'd sit with that. You know, and I just get my life together. Oh, thank you so much for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Let's try this one. Let's try the next one. It's healing from trauma. I think that this is just so important. Okay, so in case you've never had any experience of anyone explaining what trauma is, I'm going to explain it in all of its wonderful detail. And then at the end of this explanation, we have a series of exercises we're going to try together to get in touch with how to release our trauma. Okay. Like always, you're welcome to read along with me, or you can close your eyes and just take this information, let it bypass the brain and go into the heart. That's where it needs to go. And this comes from the book, Journey Through Trauma by Gretchen Schmelzer, and the Tao of Fully Feeling and Complex CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, who is a Bay Area psychologist.
I used to have that book.
Oh, yeah? Oh, right on. Yeah, these guys, I'm so thankful for these people because they wrote all these things in the early 2000s, and now that stuff's been around for 20 years, so we can put it all together and educate and help more people. So thankful. And you think about what they went through, but they didn't even have these resources. So just so thankful.
Yeah.
Trauma is defined as an experience or event that overwhelms your capacity to depend on or protect yourself, leaving you with feelings of terror, horror, and helplessness. Since the body processes physical and emotional pain the same way, physical trauma and emotional trauma are the same thing to your mind. Sure, a family death or car accident, but also things like road rage on our commute, getting bad news we didn't expect, or suddenly remembering something painful from the past. Other kinds of trauma can be cultural, like sexism, historical, like transatlantic African slavery, or the Cambodian, the massacre in Cambodia, or psychic, like being told you would never amount to anything in the future. Trauma can leave us with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, where our brain copes by developing flashbacks, easily startled nightmares, and difficulty concentrating or eating or sleeping. Repeated trauma, however, like child abuse, domestic violence, or war, is more complicated. So it leads to CPTSD, complex PTSD, where instead of trying to cope, our brains learn to shut off, go numb, and forget or go unconscious, put up walls around our feelings so we don't have to constantly re-experience the pain. Trauma hits the pre-verbal areas of the brain, leaving us howling in fear or frozen in silence. These symptoms are often misdiagnosed as other things when we don't acknowledge the trauma. While these coping mechanisms may have kept you safe when the trauma was happening, as adults, they can keep us stuck in survival mode, afraid of the world, and unable to move on and really live life. Healing from trauma is literally one of the hardest things to do. These feelings can resurface at any time, and trauma can make it hard to even open to the idea of help altogether. We have to relearn developmental milestones like basic trust, faith in the world, learning self-confidence, self-compassion, healthy boundaries, identity formation, even the ability to relax. After a lifetime of protecting yourself psychologically and physically to survive, you now have to dismantle all the defenses, protections, problematic behaviors, and habits in your life. Other people, even friends and loved ones who haven't been through or don't acknowledge their trauma, may be unable to understand or validate what you are going through. Often our trauma is connected to our relationships with people who are supposed to love us. So people in itself can be re-traumatizing. If you'd like to get a laugh, you can Google hashtag peopling if you'd like to see how other people feel about that. There's actually a really funny one of Snoopy. He's in the covers and he says, "I can't go out there." No, it's Charlie Brown. And he says, "I can't go out there, Snoopy. It's too much people. It's too people-y out there." It's too people-y. Healing from trauma is not a linear one and done process. It takes a lot of time and a lot of rest. Also, we have to heal as life goes on, so doing this healing work can feel like having a second job. Good news is we already survived the worst of it, the trauma itself. The key to healing is to acknowledge what happened, what didn't or should have happened, and how did you cope with it all. To heal, we move repeatedly through 5 phases: preparation, unintegration, identification, integration, and consolidation. So let's give this a shot. Think of something traumatic. Don't aim for a level 10 trauma. Something on the 5 range, maybe a rough day at work. An argument that just didn't really go the way you wanted it to go. Something on the mid-range. You ordered something at a restaurant and didn't get your order. I went to McDonald's yesterday and I wanted a biscuit, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. And I got a McGriddle instead. And I don't eat McGriddles. I had to debate whether I should go back to McDonald's or just suck it up and eat it. I ate half of it and then I got over it. I just kind of moved on. But okay, that's a level 5 right there. So I'm gonna sit with that. I'm gonna sit with that as I read through this, okay? The first step is preparation. Develop an awareness of your thoughts and feelings. Check in with yourself. Assess and store your internal and external resources, your physical, emotional health, and safety. What do you really need or definitely don't need so that you can handle these feelings? This can take a while and can make you nervous if your trauma was connected to being silent or staying unaware to stay safe. Showing up for you and finding dependable others teaches us to relearn trust, which lets us feel safe, be willing to explore, have hope and gratitude, and to be patient and persevere, things we might not have gotten in our lives. Okay, I got the McGriddle. Can I handle this McGriddle? Can I handle this issue? Okay, this is a low level one. I don't feel like I'm gonna lose it over this. It's bugging me for sure. I think it's something I can work through right now. Okay, that's step one, preparation. Number two, unintegration. To heal, we have to give ourselves permission to totally fall apart and regress back to being a child, back to when we were innocent. Find a safe space where you can let down all the walls without the need to pull yourself together. This will move the numbness and bring up all the broken pieces of pain, fear, and fear of feeling, helplessness, shame, violated boundaries, and attachment wounds. So straight up, it's gonna feel totally shitty. Expect to be caught off guard, irritable, off balance, uncomfortable, and scared. You can even temporarily lose the ability to speak. Children do this very well, but as adults, we train ourselves to be in control and keep it together all the time, so we don't give our brain a true chance to reset and relearn. Use trust and safety to see what you can handle, and then slowly learn to handle a little more. This will create a container so that you can heal and still manage your daily life. Okay, now obviously I can't totally fall apart, but I'm gonna give myself a moment, just one moment. That McGriddle. I brought up a feeling earlier when I was doing the preparation. I'll totally understand that feeling. I'm just gonna make space, just have it, just to bring it in. Not going to judge it, not analyzing it, just making space for the feeling. Just making space for the thoughts, the feelings, the bodily sensations, and the images. A lot of images are coming up for me. There was this moment when I took my order and I swear to God, I said, I need to look in this bag and make sure, but I was like, well, let me not judge them that they messed it up. They're going to judge me if I just sit there, and they're a busy place. They got other people, other customers. I could have pulled over, but I wanted to get to my office and start eating breakfast. All these images are coming up, all these thoughts and images, just making space, just making space. Okay. Next, identification. After working with the pure feelings, we can discuss our trauma story and coping mechanisms. Trauma messes with all forms of memory. The story of our trauma can be an adult retelling with coherent sentences, or it may be childhood fragments of words, sounds, smells, and emotions. Sometimes it helps to reenact the story, not just speak it, to get the feelings out. Recognize the abuse and neglect. If you can't make sense of a feeling, ask, what would someone listening to me feel? Focus on what is true for you. Believe you, support you. This takes time and practice, so go slowly. Don't feel like your world is falling apart. You can fall back into lots of feelings of grieving, worry, and doom, so it's okay to go back to unintegration. A coping mechanism is something we engage in to feel safe, or so that we don't have to deal with feelings we don't like. Our first coping mechanism is usually other people, then fight or flight, then freeze or collapse. Literally anything can be a coping mechanism, like disconnecting from feelings or the present moment, hypervigilance, extreme rules to keep you safe, or extreme emotional walls that let no one in, obsessive or compulsive thinking, constantly fidgeting or checking your phone, living constantly in your imagination, drugs, food, and sex, constantly staying busy, constantly talking to yourself, codependent relationships, always people pleasing, always feeling helpless, afraid to feel all together, being super critical to ourselves or others, being stuck on negative and always expecting the worst, extreme narcissism, bullying others, relentlessly hoping things could have been different or better or not really true or as bad as you remember, social isolation, etc. All of these things allow us to stay in denial about how the abuse we suffered is affecting us now. Allow yourself to identify them and how they make you feel. Remember, we develop these habits to survive. So be thankful to yourself and be kind to any resistance or walls you may have also. Okay, so next is identification.
That was identification, right?
What's that?
That was identification.
Yes,
Which
yes.
is I'm not really clear on this stage here. Are you so unintegration is when you fall apart, so you really can't talk about it. But then identification is when you become your adult self again and you're assessing what happened in the unintegration phase.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it's deliberately set up as those two separate things. Well, because many of us as adults have a tendency to blend the two together. We get upset and then we try to rationalize, analyze, understand why we feel that way. And what this is telling us here is that instead of doing that, we would be better off having a moment to just straight up have the pure feelings, non-judgmental space to straight up and totally fall apart. And then when that's over, make space to then start analyzing what happened. Okay. So you might have watched me just now when I did the first thing. I did a whole big griddle thing and I was letting myself process what was coming up for me. So now I'm going to try identification.
So I have a issue here, I think.
Okay.
In the unintegration phase, I can go on for a few minutes and then I'll kick in a coping mechanism so that it doesn't totally fall apart. And in the identification phase, I can write that down. I can say, yeah, I did this coping mechanism. So then does that mean that I didn't fully do the unintegration phase?
No. You will definitely feel things, and then you may have to go back to unintegration anyway. The process of well, I'll get to this later, but the process of healing, this is a constant cyclical,
right.
Do it over and over and over. I guess what my heart wants to tell you is our space to let ourselves fall apart is often very small, very small.
I'm sorry, say that again. Someone's talking to me.
Oh, our space to let ourselves fall apart is often very, very small. And often it's not until something happens in life that forces us to open it up. So this is asking you, how much space can you make for yourself to open it up? And by default, it's only going to be so much the first time around. You do have to kind of like open it up a bit, do it as much as you can, work through those things, and then, when the next thing comes up, see what you can handle, bit by bit by bit.
Yeah.
You'll never heal anything one big trauma.
Right. Well, I guess, I've been doing these kind of things, this particular process for many, many years or decades even. And I seem to be, it's sort of a management rather than a cure or a full healing. So I'm wondering if, I guess I can make more progress in really like venting all this stuff out because it's, I don't know, it feels too gradual to me.
Hmm. So, so I'm just explaining the basics of how trauma is and the basics of how
Hmm.
to work through it. When I tell you we are going to take this into a deeper direction, if you would like to get to the next level, it's coming. It's
Hmm.
absolutely coming. Um, uh, we're going to get into a series of exercises, so that itself will help you to dig even deeper. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Let's see. I want to see what I can learn from this McGriddle story here, because that happened, and I just kind of moved on. So now, one is one coping mechanism I have is I rationalize things. It would have taken me all of 3 minutes to go back and exchange that order, and I didn't do it. Okay, okay, that's one. I had more invested in complaining about it than actually going back and doing something about it. Okay, that's another one. To make myself feel better, what comes up is when I got the bag, I really could have just looked in the bag. But I told myself all this stuff so I wouldn't look in the bag because I cared more about getting some sort of social approval in that moment. I was so caught up in wanting to get into my office, I didn't want to stop to think. I just wanted to drive, go, do, done. I didn't make any space at all to even think about those workers, any larger thing. I just thought about me, my stuff, my office, me. And then I noticed that when I didn't get what I wanted, I had to rationalize it to make it okay. So at first I just cursed out all the people at McDonald's. And then I said, okay, no, I'm gonna try to find something positive here. And then I ate one of the McGriddles, which wasn't that bad actually. Which wasn't that bad. It just wasn't good as a whole sandwich, but it wasn't that bad by itself. But that's still a secondary issue than me going and just addressing the issue. I'm passive aggressive on that one. Really passive aggressive on that. And I'm glad I was open minded about eating the food, but I'm also using that as an excuse to avoid being passive aggressive. Oh, okay. Okay, that's whew, whew. Okay, that's good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, next is integration. Integration. Now we can start to create a new story and find healthier ways to deal with our feelings in life. How can we retell our trauma story in a way that empowers us and acknowledges how we really feel? We can use our imagination to question our assumptions and retell the story, but include all the things that we wish would have happened instead so we can give ourselves the love and support we wanted. This is called reparenting ourselves. We can also question our inner voice or inner critic that we developed from our caregivers that might not be serving us well. This is also the time to question all of those coping mechanisms. What works? What doesn't? What would serve you better? All of this takes practice, like baby steps, of moving from a bad first draft towards something better and better. So be patient and understanding, and try like a child without judgment and full of play. Learn to express yourself in all kinds of new ways so you can feel freedom, wonder, and possibility. Take back your right to say no, make mistakes, and change your mind. Listen to other people's trauma stories. Okay, so if I apply integration here, well, the first thing is obviously, I don't have to ever assume that the food I'm getting is accurate. I could always check the food. It's nothing to pull over and check the food. It's a very easy thing to do. That would be kind to me and it would be kind to the workers there, because they're not supposed to get it right all the time. They're human beings who work for next to no money. It's my responsibility to check the food. They're doing the best they can, and it's my responsibility to check that food. You know, I could also toss in that I have been driving for about an hour before I went to McDonald's. But if I had actually gone to McDonald's right when I left my house, I wouldn't have been so hungry. And I wouldn't have flown to my office so quickly to eat it. I pressured myself, you know, I kind of deprived myself from what I really wanted immediately. That created the situation as well. Also, my narrow-mindedness about the McGriddle. I never wanted to eat a McGriddle. I don't eat pancakes really very much, or sweet things for breakfast. So I took one look at that thing and just negatively judged it without even trying it. It took a good 10 minutes before I decided I would try that McGriddle. It was pretty good. Would have been nothing just to say, hey, this is not what I ordered, and then got it exchanged for a new one. You know, I thought I was being kind to me by rushing into my office. That wasn't kind to me. It would have been kinder to pause, look at the food. I'm playing this scene in my mind of me going in, asking for the food, getting the biscuit I wanted. You know, just because the drive-through experience is short doesn't mean I have to rush anything. Even if I feel rushed, I have choices. Even if I feel rushed, I have choices. If someone's behind me and they're rushing me, I can pull over. Okay. Whew. This is the first time I've actually done my own trauma situation and while I'm reading this paper.
Was this a recent event?
Yes, this happened yesterday, actually.
Okay.
It happened and I just kind of moved on, but funny how it came up right now of all things. That McGriddle was traumatizing, okay? Nobody spends $10 on fast food to not get what you wanted. Why is everything so expensive lately, too? There's that, too. $10 for a McGriddle. My God. Yeah. My God. Okay, and then the final one's consolidation. This final phase is mostly one of rest, so that all this healing can set and create a new you. All learning and healing requires rest. Do things like sleep, watch TV, focus on your new life, try something new. Get used to feeling just fine and doing mundane things without drama and conflict. Being at peace can feel real odd at first. As you build strength, you can go back to the preparation phase for what trauma is left. Again, this is a repeated process, going through it over and 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 over some more. It's how you build up the ability to heal the things you haven't yet addressed. Remember, take it in baby steps that you can handle. Inch by inch, life is a pinch. Yard by yard, life is hard. Okay, so here's a series of exercises that can help you regulate your emotions, or help you regulate as you process your more difficult emotions. While they may feel awkward or silly, they're all based on strong trauma research. Please try them out during your meditation practice. Especially try these if you feel triggered or have a hard time feeling. Okay, so we got a bunch of exercises here, really simple things to help you get in touch with your body. Number one is breathing. You're breathing whether you want to or not. So breathing always connects us to the present moment, and it can help us free us from past trauma. So notice your breath. The deep or shallow. In the chest, in the belly. And if possible, just slow it down 1 second for each in-breath. 1 second for each out-breath. Second each in-breath. 1 second each out-breath. And pause and feel. Okay, in contrast, you can also try breathing fast. If you'd like, you can do this with me. Pause and feel. Breathing fast just stirs up all your feelings. So if there's something you're blocking up or locking down, breathing fast can help loosen it up, bring it to the surface. Okay, next is forceful out breath. Forceful out breath. Take a deep breath in. Push that breath out. Okay, try one more time. Deep breath in. Push it out. Okay, pause and feel. Okay, next, consciously holding it in. Breath in. Just hold your breath 5 seconds. And breathe. Deep breath in. 6 seconds. And breathe. And last one, deep breath in. 7 seconds. And breathe. Pause and feel. You know, I should say it's useful to try, hold on to something traumatic as we do these exercises. So, you know, I'm gonna hold on to my McGriddle situation as we do these exercises, okay? And finally, nostril breathing. Nostril breathing is breathing in through one nostril and out through another. Slows you down. In through one, out through the other. Think of that McGriddle situation, getting the food. Out through the other. Pause and feel. Okay, so that's a bunch of exercises right there that are just your breath. Your breath is right there. No need to call a psychologist. Your breath is right there waiting for you. Okay, next is yoga. Getting in touch with our body is important. Well, since trauma has a tendency to make us shut down and close up, we need exercises that help us open the body up. Okay, these are the list of exercises that you can do in a chair since you might be meditating or in school. The first one is shoulder taps. And feel free to do this along, Anthony, if you want to feel a little, you want to give it a shot. Thinking of that McGriddle. Never said the word McGriddle so many times before in my life.
Don't re-traumatize yourself now.
And just notice if your body's moving, if it's just your shoulders. Notice if your hips are moving too. Just notice. And pause and feel. Okay, next is a face stretch, otherwise known as a smile. Just giving yourself a smile can do so much to change your mood. So let's give it a shot. Full on studio professional kid smile. Go for it. 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and feel. Ooh. And next is the neck stretch, moving your neck from side to side. You know, we spend so much time frozen when we look at computers all day. The human neck was meant to move in all sorts of directions to help us pick things off trees and navigate situations. Ooh, give your neck a stretch. Also, we hold all sorts of tension in our neck and shoulders. Anger, tension, stress. Ooh. And the next one's arm raises. Just raising your arm. Just giving yourself stretches. Just stretching. Just stretching. And if you want, we can try the next one too, which is sticking out your tongue. Yeah. And you can make that noise or not, that's up to you. But sticking out your tongue releases all of your jaw muscles. When we get angry, we often freeze, clench our jaw. Sticking out your tongue releases all those muscles. And finally, a hug. Give yourself a hug. See what it's like to give yourself a hug. You know, so many of us, we want someone to love us. We want people to hug us. We want someone to hold us and tell us we're special. Well, then, goddamn, how about we start off with doing it for ourselves? I have heard that you need 12 hugs a day to really thrive. And you need at least 3 to survive. By that measure, how well are any of us doing these days? I'm really fortunate that I do this work. So in my pre-COVID days, I was getting definitely 12 hugs a day. And in the world we live in today, you know, I'm not getting any hugs for weeks. We have to give ourselves a hug. And just notice whatever feelings come up when you give yourself a hug, positive or negative. You might feel loving. You might feel like this is super silly. That's a defense mechanism. A little baby doesn't feel like it's super silly. A little baby needs a hug, or a little baby won't make it. The part of you that's always going to be a baby. The part of all of us that's always going to be a squishy, soft little baby and needs a hug. Pause and feel. Ooh, that was a good hug. Okay, next, And this gets more into the modern technology, modern research stuff. Next is trauma release exercises. So scientists have found that animals in the wild, when they are attacked, they engage in fight or flight, so they run away. And after the threat is over, the first thing they do when they're safe is they naturally just shake out the trauma. Okay. Human beings have the exact same bodily process, but societally, we are trained to keep it together, so we never let ourselves shake like that. Okay? So just letting yourself shake can do so much to move the trauma around. So you might notice if your legs shake already, or you have a tapping thing you do, with your arms. Just encourage it. And this is hard to do in a microphone in a setting in front of other people, but if you're ever like in bed alone and you just let yourself have it out. Let yourself just shake. You get the right to shake, shake, shake it out. Okay. And in particular, note the psoas muscle, which is the muscles that connect the legs of the legs to the trunk of your body. A lot of trauma is held there. Okay, so essentially say it's your inner thigh, but those muscles is a lot of trauma is held in that spot, which is also connected to your gut, that area. Okay. Okay. Space to shake. Then 4 is tapping, or what's called emotional freedom technique. Tapping is all about touching various what's called energy meridians around your body to help loosen up your emotions. So there's 2 basic ways to do it. So the first one here is the whole body tapping. And that kind of goes like this. You tap one hand, then the other hand, forehead, underneath the eyes, the heart, stomach, and then the knees. We're going to repeat this, and we can put some messages here. So say this to yourself or say it after me. All that arguing I hear. Other hand, all of this arguing going on, all of this arguing. Forehead. I can't take all of this arguing. I can't take all of this arguing. Under the eyes. All of this arguing is stressing me out. It makes me scared. All of this arguing is stressing me out. It is making me scared. The heart. All of this arguing is stressing me out. It is making me scared. Stomach. All of this arguing. All of this goddamn arguing. Knees. And they can put in a positive message this time around. Back to the hand. I release all of this arguing. Other hand. I release all the negative, nasty arguing I feel around me. Forehead. I release all of the arguing I feel around me. I release all of the stress and fear I feel around me. Under the eyes, I release all of the stress and fear. I release all of the stress and fear. I let go of all the arguments around me. All of the arguments, I let them go. Heart. All of the arguments, I let them go. Let them go so I can feel peace. I let go of the argument so I can feel peace. Stomach, I let go of the arguments so I can feel peace. Slow it down a little, slow it down to the knees. I release all of this stress so I can feel peace. Pause and feel. One other thing you can try, which is called sleep tapping, or you can just, it's called tapping in one area. So instead of your whole body, you can tap just your head or just your heart. And then you tap it, put a mantra in like sleep, rest, and then you just slow it down. Rest, rest, rest. Let's see what that's like. Okay. So another one, you have hands and you have a body. So the moment you feel something, you can just tap it out. Okay. Next is EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. EMDR is, well, these people have realized that if your front brain is focused on something, your back brain will automatically process emotions on its own. So if you move your eyes from one end of your visual field to the other, like this, like when you're reading, for example, your back brain will automatically just start processing things. You don't have to use your finger. The main thing is to get those eyeballs moving from one end of the visual field to the other. Keep moving them. And if you do this for about a minute, you'll start to notice your brain will do all kinds of weird stuff. And like always, you can input messages into this too, telling yourself to relax or let go. Ooh. Oh. When we get scared, for example, we often do this. We shake, we move our eyes side to side, we grab ourselves, we tap our body. We do all these things when we get scared. Rub ourselves down to make ourselves feel better. Right? These are all just bringing science to the natural ways our bodies move already. Oh, Jesus. Ooh. Mm. Ooh. Okay. Pause and feel. Pause and feel. Mm. Mm. Ooh. Okay, and then there's our final one. My personal favorite, crying, screaming, and whining. Crying and screaming are the body's natural way to unrepressed trauma. Whining is high-pitched emotional utterances that let out our feelings of stress and fear. However, many of us are taught, boys don't cry, suck it up, put a lid on it, play cool, or be quiet, or it'll get worse, instead of letting it out. So in case you've never cried before, find a place where you feel super safe, like a bedroom or a pillow, in your car, under a blanket. Put on sad music or remember something sad. Put your hands on your heart and sink into the energy there. Let yourself sink down to the bottom of the pain. Don't cry for 2 seconds and go back to normal. It's not pleasant, but it will help your body process the feelings. Screaming pushes out the feelings so that you can cry them up. It also teaches you to use your voice if you have ever been forced to be silent. Whining is letting out our stress by emoting sounds of frustration. It's more about feelings than rational complaints. So instead of school is full of unfair requirements, and let me tell you why, it's emotionally more productive to say, school is too damn hard. Or just a straight up, why? Believe it or not, it makes more sense on an emotional level. It is healthier, more productive on an emotional level to just go, than it is to go, oh man, life is just too difficult. Why are people acting like this? I just can't take this anymore, man. I just can't take it. I'm gonna get all judgmental. It is more productive just to scream it out. To just scream it out. Which is kind of funny, because it means kids kind of had it right all along, really. Okay, the kids really are the wisdom here. Okay, so this brings us to the final exercise, which is if you want to just put all this together, I call this the losing it exercise. But basically, you can scream, tap yourself, move your eyes from side to side, and do it all at once. You do it all at once, but you are really losing your mind. Okay. But this is just to say that obviously doing that looks totally crazy, but that doing that is actually, in terms of all this research here, the thing that will get you the closest to healing your difficult feelings. Okay? Might be crazy to do in a room full of people, but definitely I recommend making space to do these exercises for yourself.
No, it's funny that you say that it looks crazy because in other societies, they ritualize it.
Yes, yes, because that gives it the sanction that makes it okay. You know, that's right. You know, we only sanction emotions when big things happen. So the funeral happens, you get the right to cry it out. Although I should say, for many people, even at a funeral, they won't even do that. Our culture, or some people, it's just drinking. They'll finally let themselves cry it out.
Yeah.
I guess we all have our rituals.
Well, I mean, you know, your particular motion there. I just remember seeing that in, I think it was Baraka, this movie where it just like pans across cultures, and there's like 50 people all doing the same kind of like tantrumy exercises, and that's a regular thing that they do.
Really?
Yeah.
Baraka?
Yeah, that's not the whole theme of the movie, but there's just one scene with it. I think it starts with that scene.
Is that on Netflix?
It used to be on DVD for Netflix. I don't think it's on anymore.
Hang on, I've seen that word before. Cool, good to know. Okay, well that concludes week 1 of our material. You learned about how to meditate a bit, how to process your trauma, and how to tell yourself the truth. How you feeling? Anything you want to say and bring up, anything at all?
Yeah, I'm wondering a little bit about the format now that we just have us.
Okay.
Are you willing to be a little bit more free form with this and just jump around?
The answer to that question is yes. Feel free to propose what you're feeling. Yeah, I often get only one person who shows up. So I'm always, if one person shows up, I'm willing to dedicate all my energies to the person who came. But yeah, if you have any ideas, let me know, okay?
Yeah, let's see, what were you planning to cover next week?
Next week, we are going through a list of emotions, and then we're going to do a self-love exercise and this Byron Katie Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, which you know the Byron Katie worksheet, you said, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're still going to do it, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna pick a hard one.
Right.
We're gonna pick a hard one and do it all the way through.
Yeah. I'm wondering about these recordings. Are you going to post this online?
I do post these online on my YouTube page. But I didn't mention that before we started, so I don't have to post this one. That's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'm a little uncomfortable about that. But I do understand the value of posting, you know, these teachings that I also believe should be spread far and wide.
Just so you know, this is about the third month I'm doing this, so there are already 2 other months of material that's up online already.
Yeah. Okay.
You are the person here, so you are the center stage, my friend. So we're gonna honor your feelings. I do not have to post this online at all.
Okay, great. Thank you. That lets me be a little bit freer with my expression.
Yeah, exactly. So no, don't worry about that. But I am serious. Whatever you would like to bring into the class and discuss, work through, you got some ideas, I am 100% all ears, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, Anthony, it was just wonderful meeting you. And thank you so much for your wisdom and your participation.
Yeah, welcome. I just a few more questions if
Okay.
you got some time. How long have you been holding these classes? You said you did it 3 more times before this?
Yeah, I started in May. I teach there's 1 month I teach the emotions for dummies, and then the following month I teach an advanced emotions for dummies.
Are you familiar with nonviolent communication?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so the feelings lists, I'm looking at the page here. Probably, they're probably really related to what I've learned from MVC. This is something that I focus on a lot, nonviolent communication. I actually have been hosting, facilitating a meetup probably since February or March on nonviolent communication. And one thing that I've noticed is these. I guess I want to get more into these feelings and like differentiating them between pseudo feelings. You know how people think that being rejected is a feeling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, like this difference between like a feeling, pure feeling, and then a thought connected with the feeling, like stories that come up with the feelings.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's something that I'd really like to dive into.
So I'm just going to offer, if I could, that there is no such thing as a pseudo feeling. That pseudo feeling often, well, all our feelings come from our thoughts. So when a person disrespects us, hurts our feelings, it's not really what they said that hurts our feelings. It's what we believe about what they said that hurts our feelings. So all our feelings come from our thoughts are. So sometimes the phrase pseudo feeling can kind of invalidate what someone's feeling.
Yeah, I think the point of that concept is to realize that there's a thought that precedes the feeling.
Yes, always. And it's always the case. That is always the case. Yeah.
Right. And I've been having trouble communicating that to some people. That they think there's no thought connected to the feeling. It's just a feeling, and the feeling comes straight from the other person. There's no step of interpretation or anything. It just comes straight immediately without any control. So there's no chance of actually, slowing down and analyzing it, because they already have this belief that it's just like that. Which it is. I mean, in experience, I understand that feelings come really quickly, and the thoughts that precede them are almost invisible.
That's right. They are almost invisible and often unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what mindfulness is all for. That's what mindfulness is all about. How on earth are we going to ever have any nonviolent communication if we don't practice any mindfulness?
Yeah.
And well, I should just say I go to EBMC, the East Bay Meditation Center. I don't know if you.
I've heard of it.
So they're all about. They have a whole multicultural understanding practice that involves all sorts of nonviolent communication and all these sorts of things too. It's written all over the walls there, actually.
So you're in California, Bay Area?
Yeah. I moved to Santa Cruz for this COVID year, but I lived in Oakland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in San Jose.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I've never been to San Jose. I drove through it, but I haven't actually done something.
Yeah. Speaking of a meditation center, I was going to the Vipassana Center in Redwood City for a long time.
Oh.
Insight Meditation Center. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, great. I started all this off at a Buddhist space also, and I just found that they were, well, I got constantly told that all of these exercises was too intense for people. A lot of Buddhist spaces don't deal specifically with feelings. They deal with sort of disconnecting from them, or sort of just like this neutral mindfulness. And that's great and all. It don't help you to get in touch with the real shit you got going on inside. So when your life falls apart and you don't know what to do, just being quiet and still and mindful ain't gonna get it. You got to deal with the real things that happen to you. Yeah. That's why I'm doing this, actually. It's because I was leading a meditation group at EVMC, and I got told on several occasions it was just too intense for people.
Yeah, there does seem to be this, the westernization of Buddhism has dropped off a lot of the intensity. It's kind of a watered down version.
Yeah. I was trained in Zen as a
right.
And Zen's intense. Yeah.
I'm thinking about sticks.
Yeah. I've sat in lotus positions for at least a solid 2 hours till my whole lower body was gone and just numb going all together. So I guess because I know I can do that, I know I can do this.
Yeah. Well, I also host a positive psychology salon on Tuesdays. And you're invited to come if you want to talk to more people interested in personal development.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, can you send me the link?
Yeah, sure. It's called the South Bay Positive Psychology Salon. I just started facilitating since the main facilitator is on maternity leave.
Oh, right on. Cool. Well, are you trained in psychology as well?
Not officially. I listen to like 5 hours of lectures a day, so kind of.
Okay. Oh, that's just great. So many people need these resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's nice to have these salons and having people show up that are interested in bettering themselves and bettering the world. It's keeping me optimistic during this apocalypse.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Whenever I feel like I'm just ready to throw in the whole, like this is hopeless, I'm ready to move out of America altogether. I always end up meeting somebody who feels the same way I do.
And I encourage my friends who are trying to move to Canada because that'll be my second shelter if shit hits the fan. So, I encourage the diaspora. At the same time, we're trying to support the people who are still trying to live through, here.
Right. Well, I will be moving to Canada. I already lived in Canada for a couple of years, and for grad school. And Canada's freezing. Freezing, negative 40 degrees in the winter.
Which part of Canada were you in?
Toronto.
You went to University of Toronto?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know John Vervaeke,
No, who's that?
cognitive scientist there? I've been watching a lot of lectures from him recently.
Jackie?
Vervaeke, Vervaeke. There's a series on the meaning crisis that is incredibly fascinating. I just watched like a 3-hour interview with him, and then I started the series.
Huh.
He's a former Buddhist practitioner who's right now using cognitive science to study basically like mystical states of consciousness and different ways of understanding reality to address the problem that he considers to be a major problem, which is the lack of meaning in today's society, and how it's been how we've been trying to find it in things like ideologies, communism and such.
Uh-huh.
It's super fascinating how he ties in like shamanism, psychedelics, and Buddhism into his way of thinking about how we construct meaning.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I went to the University of Toronto back in 2005. So I'm looking at the faculty list right now, but everyone I studied with is old now. So that guy must have, he's an assistant professor. So he must have shown up in the last like 5 years.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's almost making me want to move there just to attend his classes, because it's just so fascinating. He's on the cutting edge. Super humble guy too. Like everything he says, he says, this is from this person. This is from this person. He'll never like say, I invented this.
Oh, they weren't that kind of department when I was there. So that's really great.
Yeah.
And they were full of people who were full of themselves. I'm seeing some names and bringing back some memories.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved to work with someone like that there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you live in the U.S. first before Canada, or?
Yeah, I'm from Louisiana, born and raised. But at 18, 20, 22, 23, I decided to, George Bush won the second presidential election. I said, fuck it, I'm out of here. And then I went to Canada.
It's kind of what I did in 2016. I moved to Spain.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then Brexit happened and Europe kind of fell apart. So I'm like, oh, fuck this.
But I mean, well, Spain wasn't all that affected by that, though.
Not exactly, but my girlfriend at the time was from England. So,
in that case, you were affected.
Yeah, I was affected.
Oh, wow. Did you speak Spanish?
I took a class. I learned a little bit. I was only there for about a year, and a little bit in the south of England too.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, it was a nice little reprieve from the Silicon Valley go society.
I bet, huh?
Needed a little self-imposed sabbatical there.
Yes, Spain. I was in Spain for 2 weeks back in 2004 or so, back in the college. Yeah, it's a really relaxing kind of place. It's very easygoing kind of place.
Yep. It's I made friends with at least one local. I think 2 locals there, and no matter what their social class, they're just relaxed. Like the guys I was hanging out with, they may have been pretty poor, but they're pretty chill.
Yeah.
Over here, it's like wherever you are, poor or rich, you're not chill.
Oh, that is so true. I moved here thinking people would be so hippy dippy and everything, and some people are, but there's a lot of other people here who are some of the most wealthiest, stuck-up people I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sticky branches just stuck up their behinds.
Yeah. Yeah, I see you got a keyboard there. Is that a piano keyboard?
Yeah, I'm a pianist also.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a master's degree in classical music, actually.
Oh, wow. That sounds fun. Do you
Yeah,
compose?
I do all sorts of stuff.
So do you compose?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a classical composer also. I just finished getting a master's degree in
Yeah.
classical composition.
Huh. Do you have published works?
That's what I'm in the process of doing. I put everything together, and I need to put it all up on like a website. But everything's
Yeah.
on my YouTube page if you're interested.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me a link to that. Is it on your Meetup?
It should be. If it's not on my Meetup, it really should be, because that's where I'm posting all the videos. So
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna tell you now.
Sure.
Make sure this. So my name's Dr. Donnie, but that's because I got a legal name change in May. My YouTube channel is my old name, which is Donovan Caesar. Let me just type that for you there. So you YouTube Donovan Caesar, my channel pops up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm a scratch DJ, and I used to be a hip hop DJ.
You're a scratch DJ?
Yeah, yeah. No, turntablism is.
Really?
Yeah. In fact,
and where do you like perform anywhere?
Yeah, but way back in the day,
Oh.
late '90s, early 2000s, just the local San Jose clubs. You know, when I was a teenager, went to some competitions and such. I had a kind of I had a really good time having this sort of worldwide crew, about 20 people just across the world. Because I used to teach scratching as well.
Oh, okay.
So it was a really good way to make friends. And whatever country I was in, there was somebody willing to put me up because we had that music connection.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's an interesting music connection too.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very small community way back then, and now it's gotten pretty big.
Right. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, I found your. Wow, you have 1,000 videos, over 1,000 videos. Is that right?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff up there. Back in the day, I also used to update. I used to upload a show called Democracy Now!
Oh,
Before they started doing it themselves. So there's some clips of that back in the day there too. But there's a whole bunch of videos of me doing the work with people here.
wait a minute. There's like a whole bunch of Noam Chomsky videos. Is that you?
No, that's Noam Chomsky. What do you mean?
Are you interviewing him or something, or what?
Oh, no. They're just videos I saw that I saved a long time ago.
Okay.
There's a bunch of stuff on here from back in the day.
Yeah.
There's some piano clips of me, and then they upload the social emotional stuff that's there now. It's the recent stuff.
I see. Huh.
I must have had this channel now for the better part of like a decade. So
Yeah.
not more. So.
Do you play any other styles? Do you like jazz or bossa nova or anything like that?
I aside from classical music, I play rock music.
Yeah.
And I'm working on. I would like to learn more like R&B.
Yeah.
I like to learn more R&B. Yeah.
I love R&B. Yeah. I love gospel music.
Nice. Yeah. Exactly.
All those jazzy chords.
In an ideal world, that's supposed to just naturally come to me, but it somehow did not work out that way. And it's funny. It's really funny actually, because I taught myself how to play the piano at 14. You know,
Yeah.
how I started learning, but I've never been able to like learn jazz gospel. I mean, I can play jazz a little bit, but I'm not good at it either.
Uh,
But it's just funny how that works, you know. Classical music has always been my thing.
yeah, yeah. I play a little bit of keyboard, not too good at it. But I mostly play ukulele.
Oh, really?
Yeah, got into guitar a little bit a year ago when I had my European friend come over to make some music with me.
Um, I have a guitar also. I have a guitar also. I just bought it's a really nice guitar. I'm trying to think of what it's called. Well, it's a really nice guitar. I bought a
Yeah.
really nice guitar.
Like electric,
Yeah,
classical.
It's an electric one. Oh, what did I name it? Like a Fender Rhodes. I got one of those.
A Fender. Fender
What?
Rhodes is a keyboard.
I think you're right. Let me hold on. The names of things. Oh, it's a Gibson Epiphone.
Okay.
Yeah. Really nice big black guitar.
Yeah, I think I.
Joni Mitchell songs on it.
Oh, right. My dad used to have that. Yeah, my dad's a guitarist too, so he used to have some really nice guitars. So I think he had a guitar that Santana played.
Wow.
Yeah, and the same series, not the same exact one, but like the same series. And he accidentally sold it. Well, he didn't accidentally. So he sold it to somebody who kind of ripped him off. My dad had no idea that this was such a famous guitar. So he sold it for a couple $100. The next day, he found it at the store and hung up on the wall with no price. It became like it's a priceless guitar.
Oh. Oh. Wow.
That's his claim to fame.
Yeah, there you go. You got a story, at least. There you go. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. If you've been around the Bay Area like a long time.
Yeah, I've lived here forever.
Stories like that. You've been here forever?
Yeah, I've been there since 83 or so.
Oh, wow.
So.
Okay. Wow.
And how about you?
I bet it's changed so much.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I moved here 5 years ago.
Oh, just 5 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, just 5 years ago. Yeah. Living here in the Bay Area was sort of like a pipe dream. I never thought it would happen. I'd never been here.
Yeah.
And then I got a job. I was like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. You still working at that job?
Yes. This week I applied for tenure. Well, I'm a college professor at CSU East Bay in Hayward.
Okay.
I applied for tenure this week, so I'll find out in May if I get it. But I'm pretty much gonna get it.
Yeah.
Everything looks pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I got a really nice college professor job here. So
That's sweet.
yeah, I'm really thankful for that. Yeah.
Well, where did you go to school in Louisiana as well?
Yeah, born and raised, went to school there. I went to LSU, Louisiana State University, for grad school. And I went to Loyola University for my bachelor's. You know what that is.
Yeah.
Jesuit schools, you know.
Oh, okay. Did you, being a Jesuit school, did you learn any of the Jesuit stuff?
They were really big on promoting education. They didn't push a lot of religious stuff on anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We are required to take 3 religious classes, and after the intro class, I took Buddhism, and so I got to learn how to meditate and Buddhism and everything, and it was the most wonderful thing ever for me.
Yeah.
But I should also say that only happened because when I signed up for Intro to Christianity because it was the only thing that would fit in my schedule. And
Mm-hmm.
the priest who taught the class, I don't know, he just rubbed me the wrong way. Some of his jokes seemed inappropriate. And then a hurricane happened like the next week, and I saw him in the store buying food for the hurricane. And I looked down in his basket, and it's nothing but expensive cheese and wine. His entire basket was filled with $100 cheeses and wines. And it's like, oh, this is how you prepare for the hurricane, huh? And he just had a, oh, you know, you know how it is. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm not taking this class. There's a Buddhist guy on the other side of the campus. Let me go talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. The Buddhist guy, his name was Professor Ben Rin. He was um, he was Chinese. He grew up in the deep South in segregation. He was like, you know, allowed to be with all the white monk people and get his education with them. They treated him like crap, he said, his whole life, but he stuck it out. So eventually they gave him his own space where he could do his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was an amazing human being. He was an amazing human being.
Interesting.
And yeah. And then my last year, he got lung cancer.
Mm.
He spent his whole life around those Jesuits, and they smoked all the time. So even though he never smoked, he got lung cancer.
Wow.
And yeah, just watching him go through that, and just what an amazing, courageous, loving, open, brave, amazing person. I would not be this person today were it not for his beautiful soul in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I also had like a influential teacher in college. Surprisingly, he was a logic or reasoning teacher or something like that. It just didn't really have to do with what he was about, though. I think he just used that as an avenue to really teach something else. He actually taught me empathy.
Oh, ooh, ooh, that's deep.
And the way he taught me was we were assessing some writings that he had collected. One of them was it might have been Polanyi or something like that. So he put some like pretty critical, social critical stuff in his curriculum, and some of the students were really nonchalant about genocides and killings and stuff like that and wars. And after class, I went to talk to him about something other than that, and I saw him crying. And I didn't understand. I was 20. I didn't understand like what's going on here. And then he modeled empathy for me and compassion. And that taught me a lot.
Wow.
Because I was a robot up until then, trying to be like Spock or Lieutenant Commander Data.
Right. And from what you just said, that conversation about genocide was pretty cold-hearted.
Yeah.
Yeah, young people can talk like that about things like that, right?
I mean, I was with the student. I didn't feel anything. As he said that, I'm like, yeah, whatever. And because I didn't connect with my own fears and sadness and hurt and anger and all that. And, he kind of helped me connect to that, unwittingly or maybe wittingly, but it wasn't a direct part of the curriculum or anything. It just happened.
Yeah, it sounds like life taught you a lesson there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Roxy Manning, you ever heard of her?
No, who's that?
She's a teacher in this area, an NVC trainer. I'm going to take a course on starting Monday with her on social change. And I just had a sense that you're into this area as well.
Yes.
Are you? Yeah.
I am, yeah. There's lots of things I don't know. There's so many things I don't know. I know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know.
Right. Are you? I just got hip to what's her name? Robin DiAngelo.
Yes.
yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. No, that book's been around for a while, so.
Right, right. I just watched a video of her yesterday, and then I watched some other videos from the so-called other side, and there's a interesting interesting discussion going on in this forum.
Well, well, Robin DiAngelo's videos are fantastic. I love watching her talk. Like she knows how to like get right there and
Mhm.
get the thing that somebody's trying to get at. She's really good at that.
Yeah.
What's the other side? What are you talking about?
Um, well, there are people who are arguing against uh, this non-falsifiable, unfalsifiable attribution of white fragility. Like if somebody speaks out against an idea, then you can just use this label to say, well, whatever you say, we can fit it into our white fragility model, and therefore what you say doesn't, can't be taken on its own content. And that kind of resonates with this this idea that I have, this ideal that I have of listening, of being able to listen deeply to people who disagree with you.
Right, right.
So I'm kind of wondering what I'm going to ask Roxy that question. In this series, I think it's like a 4 or 5 week series because she has to deal with this kind of stuff all the time. She deals with white supremacists all the time. The people that I was watching, they weren't necessarily white supremacists. They were philosophers who were trying to, analyze the use of this concept of white fragility, which I think is a very important concept. But I want to see how its use is actually increasing the polarization.
Right on. Okay. I certainly am curious to see, because the whole point of the book is really this is race from white people to white people. That's the whole idea of the book. So I do wonder, like, as a concept, how will white people take this concept and employ it, use it, misuse it,
Yeah.
screw it over, ruin
Right.
it.
Yeah. When people come up with these ideas, like I think Jordan Peterson has some great ideas, and then people kind of misuse it. The same thing I think happens to anything, Buddhism or anything. That you come up with some great ideas, and you read it out of context, and you add your own twists to it, and then it becomes a weapon. So that's the kind of thing. Like I'm also very interested in disinformation, and conspiracy theories. There might be a grain of truth in this one thing, and then people kind of spin it and turn it into something horrible that causes people to die. So I want to, again, this is my I guess my life path, my life journey is to try to save the world by saving the information ecology. It sounds grandiose, but that seems to be.
I mean, there's a few things I guess I could say about that. Technology has totally changed how we talk to each other anyway. So that's one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my trade. But by the way, I work with technology, so that's kind of why I'm interested in this.
Oh.
But go on. You had some other thoughts?
What I was going to say was just in the world we live in, where we're just kind of like swallowing all the stuff the president says. Just the value of I want to say the value of truth, the ability to see the truth in what we hear and read in our media is just so thin, so cheaply made today.
This is why I was super fascinated with Vervaeke, because he's talking about how this the kind of information that our society accepts since the Protestant Reformation was propositional knowledge. So like facts and logic. That's kind of held on a pedestal. And what that has allowed certain people to do is to use nefarious propaganda techniques without detection, basically, because people are so concerned about the quote unquote facts that they forget that there's other things under, undercurrents. Like I watched the debate recently on mute. I haven't even heard the debate yet. I just watched it on mute to see kind of like the psychological tricks that they're using, because that's really where the information is, not the words.
Wow. Well, you were right. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, because the whole thing was Trump doing this.
Yeah. I saw a lot of interruption talking at the same time.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. The kind of the subtexts, and people just don't recognize this because they're just so caught up in ideologies and facts and things that can be written as statements, logical statements. So you can get caught up in a spirals there in your own echo chambers.
I see what you mean. I can also see how that leads itself to like just steadfastly holding on to denial also. If it doesn't echo with your facts, then that's it. It's just wrong.
Yeah, these are the echo chambers I speak of. Like once you latch onto one ideology, then you're going to surround yourself with people. You're going to go to beat-ups with the same people. You're going to go on Facebook groups with the same people, and it just feeds in this feedback loop where you take on no other information other than your own. And the ability to listen to feelings, which is why I'm here, the ability to listen to like the 90% of communication that's not words gets thrown out the door. And we're very easily manipulated because of that.
Well, I would just say we often, as you said, listening to people's opinions other than your own. I often find people who are not very open-minded, that opinion only became their own, but they took it on from someone else.
Right. So it's not really listening to the opinion. It's listening to the what's alive in them. It might be these traumas that we're talking about, some fear of being teased when you're in third grade.
Yeah. It just confirms something you got like a block, a gripe, a hurt, and it just confirms the hurt.
Yeah.
Locking on to your thoughts onto it. Yeah, I can see that.
Like I noticed with myself as we're doing these exercises, and I was thinking about the projection. My fear of disagreement comes from my mom and dad disagreeing when I was a little kid and getting into physical fights and things like that. And having violence in the home, I'm projecting it onto like the greater society. I'm projecting it onto like the politicians fighting each other, or people with different ideologies fighting each other. And I'm brought back to that childhood experience without even recognizing it. I mean, I can rationally recognize it, but I need the trauma work in order to like access the feelings.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's almost like the little kid you were is holding a video camera inside of you. And so whatever happens in the outside world, if it relates to that video, it's like your little kid self turns it back on.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of us, Donald Trump brings back all sorts of dad wasn't here for us, or violence, male violence in our houses, or disrespect from adults. It brings back all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
How adults would say things and laugh it off because you're just a kid. It brings all that back for me.
How Trump laughs at things?
Just minimizing other people's feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, I mean, I couldn't have come up with a more clear mirror of the American psyche than Donald Trump. It's like the trauma that we have collectively gone through is just out there on display so brightly, so emphatically. It's that's where I find the love in the situation. How we're going through that 5-step process. It's like, This is a big reflection, and it's sort of the revelation that the Bible's talking about. which is another thing that I recently got into, well, recent in the past 5-10 years, started looking into Christian mysticism, coming from a more Eastern perspective, Taoism, Buddhism, such. I got open to more of the Christian metaphors and symbolism as of late, and it's an interesting. It's like a mind change. It's a nice perspective change. You know, thinking about sacrifice, guilt, revelations, and all those things.
Well, I'm a big fan of blending Buddhism and Christianity together and seeing how they're all different ways of saying the same thing. Those are all extremely hard feelings to process through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
for sure. I
you
think
work
that's
through those feelings, you will be Jesus.
I think that was his point, but everyone says don't do that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was his point. Yeah.
Like all the things I do, you could do too. But our society says don't be Jesus. We're gonna put you in an insane asylum.
That means you'd be free, I guess. And hey, you know, Jesus ended up in the insane asylum, but looks like we're all going to end up with the burnt planet. So
Yeah.
I'd rather be in the insane asylum.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do some trauma release exercises tonight by dancing with my friends on webcam.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I've been hosting a weekly dance party online. So
You got it going on. I can't stand this whole online thing. I'm struggling through that. I really am.
Yeah, I feel you.
I wanted to get to a place where I was like out in the world and connecting with people and doing it. So doing it all behind a webcam is it's rough.
Yeah, you're missing the hugs, huh?
Very, very, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. My girlfriend won't even see me because she's afraid her dad might catch COVID.
What?
She lives with her dad. I live with my dad.
Oh.
And my dad is a barber, so he's hooked up with a lot of people every day, and she's deathly afraid of COVID.
Oh.
So it's been a couple months now.
And how do you feel about a couple of months? A couple of months since you've seen your girlfriend?
Since like July, that I've seen her last, early July.
How do you feel about that?
You know, honestly, I've gotten used to being an online entity. It's just, I guess my temperament has been always that way. So I'm taking it in stride. A lot of people are kind of surprised by it, by me handling it so well. I'm not sure if the relationship is it's getting any better or like we're kind of distant now because of this, unfortunately. But yeah, I guess I just take it in stride.
Well, I'm having the same thing. My best friend, well, not my partner, but my best friend and me since COVID started, March or so, he had a whole freak out and basically told me that, you know, he called me to see if we could hang out again, and he never called me to hang out again. We've been chatting on like Facebook, but we haven't had any like in-person interactions or anything since March.
Wow.
And
that's your best friend?
Yeah. And
not even calling on the phone?
No. We've had one, maybe two phone conversations in the last 3 months. Since March.
Wow.
It's just been it's like we went from being pretty kind of connected to just super distant.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty sad.
Yeah. I just feel like whatever's going on I just feel like love is letting go. Love is not holding on. I don't totally know what's going on with him. The moment COVID happened, he started acting really weird and scared. I wish him the best of luck through that. I
Mm.
can't I can't fix your feelings or change your feelings.
Yeah.
I could have gotten angry and said you need to like wake up and see this, but if I don't see you in like 5 months, then I'm gonna be pissed. I could have did all that. I could have. Something in me said to just let go. So I'm
Yeah.
letting, but I'm not dating this person either,
Yeah.
There's no sexual contract involved. So
Right.
you know.
Yeah. I guess that's the part of my process too with my girlfriend. There's a bit of letting go. This our ideologies have been clashing, and this is part of the disagreement archetype that keeps coming up in my life.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I can't fix your feelings. Just same with what you're saying. Like I can't fix the way you think about other people, or I can't fix the hate that you feel. Um, Not towards me, but just her way of looking at the world.
I hear you. No, you can't.
Hmm.
And I also hear that this is a pattern that these sorts of people come into your life.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of significant relationships in the past 10 years that have shown that I'm as much as I hate disagreement, I seem drawn to it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Or it comes off as a sensitivity to anger. Like seeing people angry just freaks me out. But whatever you resist persists. So if somebody's just a little bit annoyed at something, then in my mind it turns into a mountain.
Oh, what a gift. What a gift. That means that's all subconscious stuff.
Yeah.
And it's starting to poke up through the surface.
I'm getting a lot more courage to face it, especially with all these groups that I'm facilitating and seeing how people are, I guess, getting better with me. We're on a path together, and we're all getting better together. And there's like this energy from the community that's allowing me to face some of these things.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great. Um, yeah, this must be part of your soul assignment then.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how I feel about my relationships when I notice myself having patterns.
Mm-hmm.
What's the big message this is trying to teach me? And what came up for me a lot is a lot of the people in my life are well, I just met you, so a lot of the people in my life often are losers. So that's the word. Like
Yeah.
people who just ain't got a lot going on, and I've come to see that that's often because the part of me that's just an ordinary like little kid me who didn't want to be anything special or have to achieve anything. That part of me gets repressed a lot because I'm all about getting the PhD, getting to becoming a college professor and making all this stuff happen. I'm all about accomplishments
Mm-hmm.
and success and the approval that came along with that. But now that I'm almost 40, I'm hitting this place where I realize that's like a thing I've created. I'm that kind of like a package. I created a package. I created this thing,
Mm-hmm.
but the raw real me is not this. The raw real me is what happens when I don't pour myself into this, when I'm just the original thing. And the more I've come to see that, I don't know, I'm just, well, that's what I meant. I mean, honestly, it's been 2 weeks of kind of using this analogy.
Yeah.
So what's coming up for me is just the letting go, the letting go, the letting go.
Yeah.
I got no control over any friendship that comes in my life. It comes, it goes. You know, I think you're the greatest person on planet Earth today. I find out you're a murderer tomorrow. I got no control over any of it.
Yeah.
Any of it. So
Surrender energy, serenity.
surrender, 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 surrender. Yeah. Yeah. Like I can't build any friendship into my lifeboat. How I'm gonna save myself plan. I can't build that. I don't know. I can never know what's gonna happen with people.
Yeah.
All assumptions. All assumptions.
No, that's the thing that I'm finding the most interesting or compelling intersection of all the spiritual and personal development paths that I've taken. Like in Buddhism, it's surrendering your earthly desires and your attachments to things, and in Christianity is like the faith, the surrender to the divine. No.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's exactly what I meant earlier. That the same message, just told in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The big message there is love is letting go.
Right. And as much as I've read this for over 20 years, it's finally coming together. Like I said, as I'm just reading all these different things and getting all these resources that you brought up here, you know, all the tapping, the EMDR, and all the techniques, the bioenergetic and everything like that. It's just all pointing to the same thing. It's just like letting go of this like grip onto life, this controlling.
Ooh, yes. The grip on life. Letting go of the grip on life. Any of the grip, all of the grip.
Yeah, it's all the same grip.
No grip. Just total slide through.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that. No grip. Who would you be if you let go of all of the grip?
Yeah. No compulsions.
Wow.
Total spontaneity and freedom.
Total spontaneity and freedom. Oh, one day, one step at a time.
Right. One dance party at a time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, well, hey, man, I should probably go and get some food going.
Sure.
But Anthony, it was just wonderful talking to you. And I'm definitely going to check out these groups you mentioned also.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, it was great to talk to you. Great to meet you. And
Yeah.
glad to find another partner on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay in touch, please.
For sure.
And come next week. If you're interested, come next week.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd love to continue this. All right, dude. See you later.
Have a nice week.
Yeah, you take care.
Take care. I promised him that I would not record this. So I'm going to hit the stop button. But I just want to take a moment and say that was fantastic.